All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. The Avs keep that winning streak going with a 5-0 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. That's the good news. But with any good news, just like this season has been, there is some bad news. And would you be surprised if I told you it's another Avalanche injury? This time, Evan Rodriguez. Lot to get to on this episode, new episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. You can follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. Follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube and sign up for our subtext. Subscribe to subtext where you can chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. Link to that is in the show notes wherever you're listening or on YouTube. A lot to get to today, sir. Jared Bednar gets an extension, so we will talk about that. The league inks a deal with Fanatic for 10 years to take over the jersey rights or jersey making, whatever you want to say. So it's been fun reading some comments on the Twitter machine about that. So we'll get to that. But we're going to start with the most recent game. That is obviously the Avs. A couple of days now took on the Chicago Blackhawks, win that one 5-0, and I'm kind of liking this easiest schedule in the league right now but what the Avs are doing with it is what they should be doing with it.
Yeah,
they're not being tested all that much. Toronto was a good test. And even Ottawa was a pretty good test in it. You being up on a team and that team coming back on you and you needing to shut down that comeback. But for the most part, the Avs are taking care of business. They did it again against Chicago to bring this winning streak to 6 right now.
Yeah, and that was something we used to complain about with the Avalanche last year, with quality of opponents like this and playing down to opponents. They did it a lot to Arizona last year on the Cup run, and Arizona beat them every time. And this year, I mean, we end the week playing Arizona, so we'll see how they do against that test. But to see the Avalanche doing business, doing what they need to do, and honestly, this is a solid effort that gets you a 5-0 score when you could have easily tried a little bit harder and made it double digits. But it's honestly, it's just the Avs doing Avalanche things and the scoreboard reflecting it and not playing down and taking a breath, because the momentum is crazy with this team right now.
Yeah. I mean, you could have had at least 6 with Nathan MacKinnon. That just crazy save by Stalock. He just stuck his stick out and it just hit the shaft of his stick. That was just a wide open net goal. That a Hail Mary is what happened there, right? But even when that happened, I think the score was only 1-0 when that happened. Maybe 2 if I can't remember exactly when, but it was early.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you didn't have the feeling of like, oh man, I hope that one doesn't come back to haunt us. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to be cocky about it or anything like that, but you just feel good about the rhythm that this Avs team is in, and they're doing it. And once again, man, this fourth line is bringing some energy. And I know a lot of people are on Alex Newhook, and a lot of people are hoping that they get rid of him. They're not getting rid of him, people. Like it's not. I just don't see it happening. I shouldn't say it'll never happen. Maybe down the road, who knows? But this offseason, him being a restricted free agent, him being 21 or just turning 22. If you don't know by now, the Avalanche don't do this. You just don't give up on guys this early unless it's part of a package that they just can't turn down, right? They're not just going to give them up for nothing. And I don't feel like long-term Alex Newhook's role will be on the fourth line. But for this year, he's kind of played himself down to that. And if this is the line that he has to play on with Galchenyuk for now, and who else is he playing with?
It's Galchenyuk, Newhook, and is that not Malgin?
No, Malgin got brought up. They brought Nieto.
No,
it's Nieto. Yeah,
that's right. Because Malgin, and we'll talk about him in just a minute.
Yes,
he's getting top 6 minutes.
Yep.
Talk about an opposite when it comes to Newhook and Malgin. Like playing yourself down, and when it comes to expectations, like Malgin was just going to be a role player, like stick him in, he's going to be fine in that bottom 6. And now he's playing where Newhook should be, who was talked about all offseason. This is his 2C role, and it's his to lose. And he is on centering the 4th line. Talk about 2 different play styles right now.
But this is where, this is just where you ride the hot hand, right? Now, Malgin is the hot hand. I don't feel like Malgin will be a regular on like the top 6. One, because there's so many injuries on this team, and there's no room for him on the top 6. And I just don't feel like he's the type of guy that can continue this for a full season. He's playing great right now, so you ride that.
Yeah.
Newhook played himself down to where he is, but where he is right now, dude, I was again impressed. They brought energy. They just, they kept the puck in the offensive zone, which led to a Kurtis MacDermid goal in his first game back. Like, when stuff like that is happening, the top lines will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And when you get the bottom line doing that with a MacDermid, who obviously is playing defense, but bottom pairing defense goal, it's just just a well-oiled machine right now on what the Avalanche are.
Yeah, you got 2 goals from Malgin. You got Kurtis MacDermid opening up the scoring and was the lone goal for a while. And then you got to see LOC also tally a goal. And then Mikko Rantanen doing Mikko Rantanen things. Right. This is what you want from the Avalanche. And going back to your Malgin comment about you don't think it's sustainable, what I'm looking for is the playoffs and how he reacts in the playoffs, because
100%.
This is what he could do. If he could translate this to the playoffs, he's going to earn a spot on this team. But if not, this is get ready to type this into Google. Does everybody remember Joe Colburn? That little hot stretch that he had a couple years ago for the Avs? And because it's reminiscent of that run that Super Joe Colburn had. But if Malgin can't translate this in the playoffs, it's just a good story. And do you remember when?
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting like heck for the guy. He's fun to watch. He's got talent. He had that goal that he made on that pass from Nichushkin. It was like a 3-on-2, and he kind of crossed when Nichushkin gave it to Val, who gave it back to him. And where he had it, it was kind of a tight angle, and he roofed it. And like, that's not an easy shot to take. And he has offensive ability. I'm not saying that he's just going to fall off a cliff, but we're just in a we don't know period right now with what the playoffs. I was thinking the same exact thing, man. What can he do in the playoffs? You know how everyone was fine with giving up Andreas Englund because we don't know what he can do in the playoffs. The same goes for Malgin. I'm not trying to bring the guy down or anything like that. Just we don't know. Like, we hope and that he can continue what he's doing and be that guy who turns it even up another notch in the postseason. But we don't know right now.
Yep.
So enjoy this, because he's been, one of the best pickups that they've had this year, easily, including the entire trade deadline season. But this is, you're just playing with house money right now with him, and it's fun to watch. When a guy gets in a groove, whether it's Mikko Rantanen, who's on the verge of 50, or Denis Malgin, two different, kind of, one's a superstar, one's, if you don't follow the Avalanche, you probably never heard of the guy, but both of them are putting on a show right now for the Avs. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's a definite hot streak, and it's something you also want to keep in mind. We're playing teams like Chicago, Montreal. Like, we're talking about the weak spot of the season. Once this team gets tested, Can they step up in those moments? That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. And there's one play that I liked with Malgin. He turned the puck over, bad turnover in the offensive zone, and Chicago took it the other way. And I can't remember who had it on Chicago, but he laid a nice hit on the guy to jar the puck loose. He didn't knock the guy over because whoever it was Malgin's a small dude, right?
Yeah.
Everybody towers over him. But he got back. He made a check so the Avs could recollect the puck. And so it's just, he doesn't get down on himself. I made a bad play. Forget about it immediately. Go back. Don't do a line change. Stay out on the ice and go make another play and get the puck back. That's exactly what he did.
He's playing like he's on a 1-day contract every day.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So, all right, let's hear from FanDuel. And then we'll get into more of this game. And then obviously we have some stuff to get to with Jared Bednar getting an extension. And the bad news of this game, Erod, concussion protocol. But first, we have FanDuel, and the tournament is heating up. I deleted the app, dude. I don't know if you saw on Twitter. I screen recorded my phone, deleting the app, because all 4 of my Final Four teams are gone. None of them made the Sweet 16. That's why I don't bet, people. But you can go download the FanDuel app, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get the no sweat first bet up to $1,000. That would have been me. And bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. And you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers and 3-pointers drained. But you're still in it, right? You picked Tennessee, aren't they?
Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee.
They're still in it.
Yeah.
But how's your Final Four? Is your Final Four still in?
I think Tennessee is the only thing I have left in my Final Four.
Left. This has been a wacky tournament, man.
This is why we do a hockey show.
Yes, exactly. FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet for up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. You can make every moment more with FanDuel. It's an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's get to some more on this game. We just glossed over the fact that Mikko Rantanen is, on the verge of getting 50. And it hasn't happened for a while in Avalanche world. He got the third one of the day on the power play, which made it a score 3-0, his 47th. It could be one of those things where he gets it all against Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Because if you get 2, I mean, he's got to, get the hat trick to do it. He's due for a hat trick. I don't know if anybody's ever due for a hat trick. It's almost like an impossible thing to predict. But why not now? Why not now? Right? Because if you get 2 and you're sitting on 49, then maybe that starts to mess with you a little bit. So, but if he gets 2, I felt like the Avs were kind of trying to feed him the puck a little bit more towards the end of that game against Chicago, just to get him one more, just to get so maybe against Pittsburgh is a little bit easier. You don't have to go the hat trick route. But I just kind of was watching some passes, and Nathan MacKinnon was giving up some chances that he normally takes to kind of cross ice it to Mikko.
You mean Nathan MacKinnon? Nathan MacKinnon, the guy that sat on 99 points one year and just could not get that final point.
Well, he got hurt, I think. I think he had 99. And then he did, if I'm not mistaken, I think he got hurt, which is he might have played a couple games at the end. I got to go back and look at the stats for that, or the games for that season, but he should have had it. He should have had it, and something prevented him. I think it was an injury.
Yeah, and Dutchy got 100 points, and Nathan MacKinnon sat on 99. That's just hockey's silly too.
So
sports.
So we'll see with that. You know who could have had a hat trick in this game when we already mentioned him was Kurtis MacDermid. He only had the one shot on goal, which turned out to be a goal, but he had some looks, man. And he had some good looks, and those shots got blocked or he shot it just wide. He is not afraid to unleash, and I like that about him. Why not, man?
And we talked about that before he went down with the injury, that he's starting to get more confident in his shot. Like, it was a 50-50 chance on if it was going to hit the net or be completely wide, or he'd whiff it completely. But he's gaining confidence in his shot, and he's paying off.
He is. I tell you, man. Wow. And it's nice that he can go out there, and because everybody knows him as the bruiser, and they'll just put him out there if he needs to maintain order or stuff like that. But add a little bit of offensive prowess to his game, and he's out there for more than just one thing, which is nice to see. So he had some shots, and he took them, and he didn't pass up on them, and the one went in. Why not? Stats for the game. Are you laughing at something?
Yeah, it's Kurtis MacDermid is like the useless Pokemon that evolves and learns one more move, and you're like, hey, I could use this more now.
What's his Pokemon name?
He would probably be Metapod. Just sits there and harden.
Is that perfect? We got to make a card for that. So the Avs outshot the Blackhawks 32-27. You had Alexander Georgiev. What looked good. Looked good. I mean, there was some good shots on net for him. That he's playing great. We were talking before we hit record. He's now tied for the league in shutouts, right?
Yep.
With 5. And the amazing thing about that, I don't have the Washington Capitals, game by game in front of me, but I remember seeing Darcy Kemper being at the top of that list a while ago with 5. So he hasn't had one in at least a couple months. And they're not easy to get. I'm not saying like, why haven't you done this? But you think like, God, I want to say it was around the beginning of January, if I'm not mistaken, that he had 5. So Georgiev has caught up to him, and he still is flying under the radar.
Yep.
And I think he will for a while, because you're going to have this is a Connor Hellebuck, Andrei Vasilevsky, and Igor Shesterkin league, right? Yep. And it will be for as long as those guys are in the, and rightfully so. They are the top of the line. But when you have guys like Georgiev that are playing well and the numbers back it up, and who just kind of fly under the radar, it's kind of like that's par for the course when it comes to the Avs.
Yeah. It's you kind of expect that, being the Avalanche goalie. The last one to get any kind of awards hype was Varlamov, and that was because the team was bad in front of him, and he literally had to win games for the
carried
Avs.
him through that season, definitely.
And now it doesn't matter who's the goalie; it could be Keith Kincaid, and it's one of those that we'll talk about, like with Bednar coming up. Well, with this roster, you should be doing this. This is expected of you, to get shutouts and have good performances. It's never going to be Georgiev. It's always going to be who's in front of them, the talent on the roster. When they win, it's never you, but when they lose, it's your fault.
Yeah. But I mean, at least he's beating these teams that he should beat. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let in, if this is a 5-0 game, you can't let in 4 goals.
Yeah,
against a team like Chicago and make it a game. So good for him. Another shutout. He got the number 1 star of the game. Obviously, I love that. He's deserving of a number 1 star. You get a shutout. You likely should be, unless someone had like a hat trick or something like that. But Denis Malgin was the 2nd star, and Kurtis MacDermid was the 3rd star. With all the firepower we have on this team, and Cale Makar didn't play in this game because he's out with a little owie. He shouldn't be too long, but you still have McKinnon and Rantanen, and you have all these guys on the team still, even Bo Byram, and those guys got star 2 and 3.
Take a picture of it.
Your team's on a good roll when that's happening.
Take a picture of it. In the words of Indiana Jones, it belongs in a museum.
Hang it in the Louvre. All right, let's take one more quick break, and then we'll get to Jared Bednar. He got another extension, and of course, Fanatic is now the jersey supplier for the NHL. But first, if you're hiring, you need Indeed, because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications, quality applications that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process. Find great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. And with Indeed Match, as soon as you're sponsored a post, you get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed that match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Plus, you only pay for quality applications that meet your must-have requirements. With Instant Match, over 90% of employers get quality candidates as soon as they sponsor their job post, according to Indeed data. And start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/locked-on. The offer is valid through March 31st. So go to Indeed.com/locked-on to claim your $75 credit. That's Indeed.com/locked-on. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? Then you need Indeed. So the best coach in the league, without a doubt, is Mr. Jared Bednar. We all know that. We don't want to admit it for outside of the Avalanche fan base, but you all know it. And not only is he the best coach in the league, he is already, in my opinion, the best coach in franchise history. And he's got the wins to back that up, obviously. But what he gets out of his players nightly is just incredible. And this is another season where, with everything going on with the injuries, it's as much a credit to the players on the ice as it is to him and the system and everybody buying into, we can still do this. Like, let's work with what we have here and look what's happening, right? Took a little while to get going, but they're cruising right now. And they gave him another extension, a 3-year extension for Jared Bednar. I guess maybe the only surprise is it's not longer. You know what I mean? I know you don't really, most of the time you don't extend coaches for too long because it's a thankless job most of the time, because you're when you're hired, you're just waiting to get fired basically in the coaching world. But if anybody is as locked in and comfortable as a coach to a team, it has to be Jared Bednar.
And I think when it's all said and done, I mean, Bednar has won a title everywhere he goes. Whatever level of coaching he goes, he wins the championship.
Yep.
And depending on how everything finally ends in 25 years when he retires from the Avalanche, he might be a Hall of Fame coach.
He very well could be. Very well could be. I don't see why not. And we were talking about, Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen, Gabe Landeskog, all those guys, even, sooner or later we'll be saying the same thing about Cam McCarr, wanting to spend their careers with one team. You don't hear about it that much with a coach, right? Coaches go all over the place. And this could be that guy. Really could be. And when he is ready to retire, I don't feel like he's going to retire from hockey. He might be retiring from coaching, but it could be one of those things where if he wants to, they create some position for him, in the front office to do something there to be connected. If he wants to do that, if he wants to retire and say, I'm completely done, I'm just going to spend time with my family, then he'll, he can go down that road if he wants to. But I think they found a diamond in the rough with him. And I don't think they have any thoughts at all on when his last year might be, because this is almost like this is not there yet, but it will be kind of like, a Mike Shanahan, Denver Broncos type of thing where he just is given the keys and Sakic and McFarland will handle the roster side of things. They give him the best possible team to work with, and he makes it work. And I would love, just in some, snarky kind of way, for him to never win the Jack Adams, because he will go down as the best coach in this franchise's history. and they always gave the award to somebody else. And there's always an excuse to give it to somebody else except him. It's kind of a joke that he hasn't won it yet. And in some roundabout way, I almost want to keep not giving him the award and keep watching him rise up the ranks of all-time coaches. He's not there yet. He's got a lot of work to do, but man, is he on a path to be a long-remembered coach in this league, and he could be doing it with one team.
I think by the time it's all said and done, I think Jared Bednar will have more pavilion streets and areas named after him within a mile radius of Ball Arena than he'll have Jack Adams.
Yeah, one. So I think, I love his coaching style. He's not, from everything I heard, like behind closed doors, he gets on his guys. In public eye, in the public view, when the cameras are on, he's as quiet as a church mouse, as they say. Like he just goes about his business, expects guys to buy into the system and play the system. And if you don't, you're out. You're out. And he does it in a very fair way. So love him. Love that he's coaching our team and will continue to, at least for the next 3+ years. And then the last thing we have to get to is we knew that the league and Adidas were parting ways. I believe that's after next season. And there was all these names getting thrown around. Who's league going to go with next? Would they go back to Reebok? I don't know about that. I don't even know if Reebok is still in existence anymore.
Yeah.
Would it just go to Nike because Nike's got their hands in everything? Would it go back to CCM? That would have been cool. They went the Fanatics route. So they already have, a business relationship with Fanatics. Whenever you order from NHLshop.com, you're ordering through Fanatics. And a lot of people, even after the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup, were posting T-shirts that they got, the hats that had the Stanley Cup logo on it, where the logo is like crooked a little bit. Fanatics has been around for a little while, and they have their hands in way more than just the NHL. Probably 99% of the time, they do a fine job, right? But because of the age of social media, when somebody gets something that's not what they wanted, it's going to get posted. Mistakes happen. And I think those mistakes are hilarious. Do I think they're a bad company? No. Clearly they're not. They're $1 billion company. But I think people are not happy with this because those few things that people have seen of the errors that they've received in shipping, it just gives a company a bad look. I think it's hilarious, but is it getting overblown that Fanatics is going to be, and this is a 10-year deal. This is not like, hey, let's do like a 3 or 4 year deal just to try this thing out. This is 10 years. So people are having a field day on social media right now.
Chris, I don't know if you know this. I've never bought a jersey in my life. Don't look behind me.
No. Yeah.
I will tell you, like, Fanatics, they're affiliated with MLB, NBA, NFL.
Everything.
All the way down to WWE. Their shop is now a Fanatics brand.
That's great.
So I think the big thing is it's twofold. They already have this kind of, it's a fast food mentality when it comes to merch. And you see that with the errors that are posted. It's just filling in fields, ship it out. There's no heart. There's no passion. Like a CCM when Reebok was there, Nike, and kind of going out of the box when they had like the helmets. And when Nike was in hockey, there was heart there. They tried to push the limits, push the envelope. Fanatics pushes nothing except mass merch. And to go 10 years and just another sterile, lifeless, like, honestly, and seeing the reports that Adidas didn't put in a bid, Nike didn't put in a bid, because they're getting away from being just in a sport and married to it. They want to be free to experiment. For it to land to Fanatics is probably one of the darker moves of the NHL. It's sad. And honestly, I think the big thing is it's just sad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here like, the jerseys are going to go down the tubes and stuff like that. Like, I don't feel that way, but I agree with you with like, what is the innovation part? Like, I like that part
Yeah.
of jerseys and Adidas did that. Adidas did a really good job, with the reverse retros, obviously, and with the outdoor jerseys. And sometimes people don't like them. They're not all going to be home runs. I get that. But so I'm gonna take like a wait and see approach with Fanatics. But I think like the thoughts on it are kind of what you're saying. Like, what are they? Are they just a drop shipper? Like they're just there to fill orders?
Yep.
Like, do they have a team that can come up with creative ways to push the brand? I don't know that yet. I don't have the answer to that. I want to see. I want to see what they come up with for outdoor games and Winter Classic games and stuff like that. And can they do something like reverse? Like
they're going to put long sleeves on a Broncos jersey.
I don't know. So I want to see where it goes first before I make a snap judgment. But it is an odd move. I do have to say, and it is a weird move. Mitchell and Ness was another one that was getting thrown around.
That would have made my day.
That is like something like that would have been like creative. Like, okay, like let's push the envelope here a little bit. But I think it's a little bit of a questionable move. And when you're a league that wants to, or I shouldn't say you're a league that wants to, I want this league to be a league that, pushes the envelope and tries different things. And it just seemed like they went for the easy road. And Fanatics is just there, like, yeah, Fanatics like, yeah, we can do that. Okay. We'll see. I'm not gonna just completely bash this, although I had a fun time with it on Twitter. We'll see. We'll see where this goes because we're Jersey heads or whatever they want to call it.
And like honestly, just to wrap it up, the best way to summarize it, it's Fanatics are the suppliers that get to make the jersey. It doesn't feel like it's who wants to make the jersey. There wasn't that fight for it. There's no want. Fanatics, you want to do this? Fine. There's no want and passion there from the get-go, and you can see that with the fallout from the fan base.
We'll see where it goes. All right. Well, where the Avalanche are going to go is back to Ball Arena and face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. McKinnon's buddy, Sidney Crosby, comes to town, so he's just going to let him win, right?
Sure.
Yeah, he's got to. And Mikko Rantanen will get to 50. That is my prediction in this game. Hat trick it up, sir. All right. It's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. For Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, I'm Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.